Coming up on District Wire News, dozens of AU students board a bus to take a more than 8-hour trip to cheer on the men's basketball team in the NCAA tournament. We chatted with some fans before departing.
Also, students got together to celebrate the importance of women at the Bridge. Good afternoon, I'm Marco Gacina.
And I'm Aiden Kaplan. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a great run so far for the AU men's basketball team, and their trip to March Madness begins with tip-off in a few hours. Mariana Trujillo Valdez joins us in the studio with reactions from some excited fans before they head to Dayton. Mariana?
Thanks, Marco. Today I spoke with some AU students who could not contain their excitement for the game tonight. Let's see what they had to say. The energy is through the roof early morning as AU's Blue Crew departed for March Madness. The AU Blue Crew is made up of student fans who are excited for the men's basketball team to compete in the NCAA tournament tonight. The Blue Crew bus left a little before 8 this morning, heading to Dayton, Ohio to face Mount St. Mary's. Senior Nate Porterfield said he's ready for the 8.5-hour bus ride.
I've always been a basketball fan, and I think this is I'm not going to pass up on trying to see, of course, my university, but also see the March Madness games.
Porterfield is a part of the Suit Mafia, the unofficial fan group of the men's basketball team. They go to every match and dress up in suits, cheering as loud as they can. For the first time in 11 years, the team has punched a ticket to the tournament. Senior Ethan Stahl is excited to suit up, as a fan, of course.
My freshman year, the men's basketball team was like the laughingstock of like AU sports. So to see them go from like the laughingstock to like making March Madness is like pretty incredible.
Mariana, what happens if the Eagles win today?
If the Eagles win tonight, they'll go up against the #1 seed Duke, led by Cooper Flagg, NBA top prospect.
The investigation into the disappearance of University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Kananki continues as a person of interest, Joshua Ribe, began being released from custody. The ruling judge said that Ribe could still cooperate with police without being in custody. Ribe has asserted that he has been cooperative thus far and will continue to do so after his release. This comes after Kananki's parents have asked police to declare her dead, which some attorneys suggest is intended to shift the focus of the investigation towards finding a culprit rather than finding her body.
Women's History Month is celebrated across the nation, and at AU, festivities were centered in the Bridge Coffee Shop. District Wire News' Gabby Arnold shows us one way that AU students are honoring women today.
In 1987, Congress passed a law to designate March as Women's History Month. This year, American University's Center for Diversity and Inclusion hosted Blooming in Brilliance to celebrate women's history. CDI collaborated with the Bridge Cafe to host an event focused on inclusion and celebrating womanhood. Former Mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, says community and support are key for women.
I think it's important that during Women's History Month that we uplift the women who have been really the crusaders on whose shoulders that all of us stand, many of whom are unknown, particularly the young women these days, because women's history has always been marginalized. Women have to not view each other as competition. When one of us gets through the door, we got to open it even wider for other folks to come behind us.
AU student Lucrezia Brody says this event provides an important opportunity to highlight women's achievements.
I think it's nice that we're having a little community event. I'm glad that it exists. I just wish that we had more actual history of women during all of the months of the year. I think the history of women's actually really important, so I don't think it should be limited to 1 month.
The event featured giant Women's History Month themed puzzles, a plant giveaway, and refreshments. The Center for Diversity and Inclusion also partnered with the Bridge to offer a women's equality drink all month long. For District Wire News, I'm Gabby Arnold.
The Environmental Protection Agency plans to eliminate its scientific research office and could fire more than 1,000 scientists and other employees. As much as 75% of the staff from the Office of Research and Development could be laid off. These employees include chemists, biologists, and other scientists. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin also said he wants to eliminate 65% of the agency's budget. The planned layoffs are part of a reduction in force by the Trump administration to shrink the size of the federal government.
Coming up, a Georgetown liquor store is sending revenue from sales of a Ukrainian vodka to support Ukraine's war effort. The store's goal is to establish a strong stance against the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Also coming up, a deep dive into how work schedules may be evolving. TikTok is beginning to rewrite the traditional 9-to-5 workday Americans are so accustomed to. See you after the break.
Hi. I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-retirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. Here, this is pretirement.org.
Retirement savings options? Potential tax breaks.
Move.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
You got this.
Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused.
A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
An American vodka distributor is donating funds to Ukraine, with DC liquor stores filling their shelves to join the movement. Our Lily Becker and Kennedy Morgan stopped by a Georgetown store to find out more.
Ukrainian vodka is making its way to shelves in the DMV, offering a taste of resilience in every bottle. Brands like Kora and Nemirov are now available at liquor stores, bringing a centuries-old distilling tradition to American consumers. Potomac Wine and Spirits is now distributing Ukrainian vodka, working with U.S. import company Spirit Worldwide. The founder, Sam Lerman, a U.S. Army veteran, first traveled to Ukraine during his service. What he found was not just a war-torn nation, but people full of warmth and deep cultural pride.
Ukraine is not just a country at war. It's a place with thousands of years of traditions of distilling and winemaking, and with a rich cultural heritage and a bright future. But I want to give Americans something to index on about Ukraine that's other than the war.
And a large portion of the revenue of the spirits is going towards landmine removal in Ukraine. From Georgetown, Lily Becker, District Wire News.
The two federal trade commissioners fired by President Trump last Tuesday have spoken out, claiming there were political motives behind them being let go. Alvaro Bedoya and Rebecca Kelly Slaughter argue that bipartisanship in the FTC is imperative to its effectiveness. Being the only two Democratic FTC members, they took to X to argue that this puts the independence of the commission at risk. FTC Chair Andrew Ferguson responded on the app, citing previous Supreme Court rulings that affirm the president's discretion in firing. Also, working in an office from 9 to 5 isn't the way of the future for some employees. Instead, they are trying to make a living as influencers. Tayo Ojewumi-Ojo spoke to AU students to see what they think.
That video just made its creator nothing less than $30,000 with 54 million views on TikTok. As the popularity of online influencers continue to grow, it begs the question, does 9 to 5 still work as a path to success, or a turn to unconventional means such as being an online influencer?
The 9 to 5 isn't really working anymore, but I also don't think that the pathway towards success is through social media either. I think that there's actually a middle ground that isn't getting discussed enough, and I think that middle ground is kind of an area to explore in comparison to kind of that traditional 9 to 5, because we all know it's not really working.
TikTok pays $20 to $40 for a video with 1 million views, making it harder for people with not much of a following to barely make any money, as some still see the regular day-to-day job as an income more guaranteed.
The traditional 9 to 5 in the workplace is still very beneficial because you learn so many important skills of camaraderie and being able to work on a team, and those are some extremely important skills that I think some people sometimes lack in today's day and age, which I think can be attributed to social media in certain ways.
It really depends on the person and also the circumstances. I do think some people can really make it as influencers, but they have to be very lucky. But on the other hand, a 9 to 5 isn't always a safe bet either, but realistically it's more of a safe bet for most people. So
while some influencers can earn substantial income, many earn significantly less than a typical 9 to 5 job, according to Medium. For District Wire News, I'm Tayo Ojewumi-Ojo.
A case of the measles has been confirmed in Maryland. According to DC health officials, the case is not related to the outgoing outbreak in the southwestern United States, though it is still growing at unprecedented rates. The outbreak has grown to 279 cases, mainly affecting children and teenagers whose vaccination status is unknown. The AU Student Health Center sent an email to all students urging them to stay up to date on all vaccinations required for enrollment. They also sent out guidelines in the event a student comes in contact with the highly contagious disease. With the conflict now over 500, it has been over 500 days since the war in Gaza began on October 7, 2023, and peace talks between Israel and Gaza have halted after an aerial attack on the Gaza Strip. The attacks took place in the dead of the night Tuesday. Palestinian officials claim that the death toll is over 400. In an address to the nation, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claimed that this is just the beginning, stating that future negotiations with Hamas will coincide with Israeli military action. Many of Netanyahu's critics believe that he has rejected deals to end the war to preserve his own coalition. Still, calls for ceasefire come from all directions.
Coming up, Alex Ovechkin continues to burn goalies in his quest for the NHL goals record. Excitement is building in the district as he creeps closer to his shot at history.
Also, cherry blossom season is approaching fast, and our reporters went looking for the best places to experience peak bloom. More on that after the break.
People couldn't see my potential, so I had to show them.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
Today, I'm the CEO of my own company.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Why are we not rethinking this?
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
That first time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180. Being present is the most important part. To be the better mirror for my son. bro, he brings the vibes, you know what I'm saying? He brings the party no matter what. He really a definition of like why he loves somebody. And I love him to the death of me.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
The district has been full of excitement as the Capitals make a push for the playoffs. However, many fans aren't focused on wins and losses, but an even bigger record. Stella Guzik reports.
Washington Capitals star Alex Ovechkin is just a handful of goals away from breaking the NHL career goal record. Affectionately known to his fans as Ovi, the team captain cut the distance down to 8 goals this past weekend. One Caps fan has full faith in Ovechkin smashing the record.
It's not like Ovi is like this old guy who like is coming off the bench and he's just like trying to, you know, like inch closer to the record. Like he's going to break the record and then he's going to keep going, you know.
The district is hyping Ovechkin up with goal counters across the city. The counters are at Capital One Arena, the National Portrait Gallery, and Ben's Chili Bowl, among other places. The record is currently held by former NHL player Wayne Gretzky.
It's one thing to break a record that's for a single game or a single season, but that kind of like a whole career type record just shows like the incredible longevity of Ovechkin.
Hockey fans are on the edge of their seats with every shot Ovi takes on the net. I'm Stella Guzik for District Wire News.
2 NASA astronauts touched down on Earth Tuesday after the 8-day trip lasted 9 months. Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore's propulsion system faced technical issues, causing them to be stuck until a SpaceX capsule picked them up on Tuesday. Friends and family awaited their safe arrival, especially those from Williams' hometown.
I think it's really great for kids to see that someone who grew up in this community, graduated from Needham Public Schools, can go on to become someone so successful.
The astronauts will undergo a series of tests today to make sure their health is up to Earth standards.
DC leaders are speaking out after proposed budget cuts look to slash $1 billion from the district's annual budget. DC Mayor Muriel Bowser was one of the loudest voices calling for Congress to pass the Local Funds Act in a press conference on Monday. Pending House approval, the act would allow for the district to operate under its already approved 2025 budget. Bowser says cuts will mean less cops on the streets, less teachers in schools, and setbacks to critical infrastructure projects.
Today is officially the last day of winter, but it sure felt like spring has already arrived. We warmed up to the 70s this afternoon. Expect the warm weather to continue for one more day before it cools off a little. Tomorrow's high temperature should make it into the lower 70s. Then Friday, we'll have lots of sunshine, but the high will only make it into the upper 50s. Saturday will be back in the 60s during the afternoon. And if you're headed to the Tidal Basin Sunday to see the cherry blossoms, you'll need a jacket. Highs will be back in the mid to upper 50s.
Speaking of the cherry blossoms, reporter Maeve Fischel took a trip down to the Tidal Basin to see how the blossoms are blooming at the annual Cherry Blossom Festival.
It's almost cherry blossom season here in DC, and preparations for the National Cherry Blossom Festival are in full swing. The festival's construction team has been hard at work completing the event setup near DC's Tidal Basin. The festival has lots to offer, from scheduled events to beautiful sights.
Just the beauty, just the relaxation. I like to sit on a bench more than the crowds and just enjoy the atmosphere.
Organizers of the festival report the blossoms are about halfway to peak bloom, which is expected between March 28th to 31st. Some families say they were hoping to catch the flowers in peak bloom, only to find the buds still hidden in the trees.
It is a little disappointing, but you know, we'll time it better next time, I think.
It's the weather. There's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
Just how it goes.
Yeah.
The festival commemorates Tokyo's 1912 gift of 3,000 cherry trees to DC and draws over 1.5 million visitors each year. Of those visiting is a group of Girl Scouts from Florida who have been raising money for 3 years to make the trip.
We sold Girl Scout cookies and did fundraisers.
The first events of the festival kick off at the Art in Bloom DC exhibition at noon tomorrow. For District Wire News, I'm Mae Fischel.
For District Wire News, I'm Marco Gacina.
And I'm Aiden Kaplan. Thanks for watching.